go.
Hello, everybody. We are group number 6, and we will present you our presentation about diversity in the United Nations.
First of all, we're going to discuss our interview plan. We chose to begin our interview by introducing ourselves as students studying bachelor's at UVA, and then showing why we chose the topic we are investigating. Then we started with the base questions concerning the interviewee's personal life and background before we dive deep into our topic.
Later on, we followed by questions about personal experiences at the organization. Here are some example questions we had in our interviews. So, for example, we started with questions like, what is your cultural background? How long have you been working at this organization? What role do you fulfill? And what is your definition of diversity? Then we follow up with questions concerning connected to our themes described in our research proposal, like did working with international colleagues help you realize some biases and stereotypes you held against other people? And it is connected to the theme of cultural differences.
Another theme that was discussed in the research proposal was conflict, and one of the questions related to it was, have you ever witnessed a conflict caused by cultural differences? If so, what did you do about the situation? Another question was, have you ever had to alter your work style to meet a diversity need? What did you do to ensure that you were inclusive of their identity during your interaction? And this was under the theme of communication and management.
Right, so now I will tell you something more about the first two interviews we conducted and the coding of these interviews. After we conducted the interviews, we transcribed them so that we could code them afterwards. First, we read both interviews and tried to find common concept in these interviews. And these were the open codings. We came to these open codes by categorizing the data and thinking of what concepts would be interesting for our research. You can see the open and actual coding on the following slides. After the open coding, we tried to connect the categories that we identified in the open coding to each other. And this resulted in the coding scheme presented on these slides. An example is that we connected the concepts of tolerance and acceptance together into the actual codes, attitudes supporting diversity.
In our memos, we wrote also moments when interviewees became tired or showed or showed confusion or signs of the fact that we're uncomfortable with the questions asked.
So regarding the evaluation of the first two interviews, we started the first two interviews by greeting the interviewee, introducing ourselves, and asking him or her if we can record the interview. And then proceeding with our questions, we started off with more basic and general questions concerning the background or demographic of the interviewee, as they were more open in order for us to collect the most useful information we can get. So the interviewees talked more about when this type of question was asked.
We can state also that all procedures were kept. So at the beginning of interviews, we asked for consent and participation forms. Our questions were clear to the interviewees, as it was stated in the feedback forms or feedback messages. Our questions were open-ended. However, some questions will need to be transformed into more non-leading. For example, a question, did working with international colleagues help you realize some biases and stereotypes you held against other people, already implies there are biases. We used active listening throughout the whole interview to gain trust of our interviewees. And thanks to that, they were more open and provided us with better answers.
So what needs to be changed in our research proposal? First of all, we're going to start with the theoretical framework. We need to focus more on interactions between employees and how this can impact them outside of the work as well, and more on the value added of diversity into productivity, as it emerged as an important topic in the interviews. Also, we should talk more about the factors that assist a person in adjusting to diverse environment, such as tolerance and acceptance, which were mentioned often in the interviews. The interviewees discussed that they had to alter some of their acts and thoughts when they went back to their home country. That is why, because as the cultures can be very different, as well as adjusting to their home culture's mindset later on. This can be considered as one of the consequences or results of living and working in a completely different culture, as there could be both negative and positive outcomes of this change, which needs to be mentioned in our theoretical framework.
When writing the methods section, we did not know the technicalities of the interviews, and we did not know exactly how we will conduct them. So this section needs to be adjusted as well. And our research question would need to be changed as well. When interviewing our interviewees, new themes and issues emerged, and we decided that they're more interesting than our previous research question.
What we want to change in our next interviews, first of all, we want to ask questions more about the personal experience of the employee rather than the organization itself. As some employees might ask us that they need to get a permission from the organization in order to represent it in answering these questions. And also, we have to be more natural and not just read the interview guide and conduct more of a small talk in the beginning.
We need to make sure that the internet connection is stable, as it is very important. We need to start with the approximate duration of the interview to inform the interviewee how long it will take. And we need to ask more follow-up questions.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you very much for watching.
Thanks for watching.